I'm really not sure how we got to the point where we let PC Gamer, like the website PC Gamer, become the absolute worst representation of PC gaming. I think that's like the cruelest joke that games journalism and the modern games industry has played on us. Because, like, we see really bad takes from Kotaku, we see really bad takes from The Gamer, and obviously the company-driven outlets are going to be much more forgiving towards those, like, titular companies, like Nintendo, whatever that site's called, or Push Square. But the fact that PC gaming as a whole is, like, mainstreamly represented by PCGamer.com, and all the while PCGamer.com is, like, the single worst representation of PC gamers in the world. It feels like a cruel joke someone's playing on me. But the other day, a PC Gamer article went a bit viral, and maybe you remember the tweet that PC Gamer posted to promote it. So the tweet that went something like, I don't know, Avowed's best enjoyed if you ignore the frame rate. Maybe we should do this more often, because PC Gamer, the mainstream face of PC gaming, is now just openly advocating for lower frame rates, because you should just be able to ignore them. Yeah, no, see, the thing is, I hated The Illusionist, that movie, when I watched it for the first time. But, you know, the screen was just flickering on and off the entire time. Little did I know that was my fault. I should have ignored the screen flickering and just appreciated the movie for what it was, man. That's my fault. Technical problem with the device being used to portray the art on the screen for me. Technical problem with the machine. I should have ignored that. My mistake. Also, I've never seen The Illusionist. I feel like I should come clean about that. I was trying to think of, like, what's a movie that everyone likes, or like a movie that everyone thinks is good, that I could use for this example, and The Illusionist is the first thing that came to mind. I don't know why. Also, in Before Joe thinks Avowed is as good as The Illusionist. No, I don't. I have no opinion on Avowed. I haven't played it yet. I was just trying to make a stupid analogy. I was just trying to be a stupid little boy. But we're gonna read this article together because, holy cow, that ratio, Batman. 342 likes to 1,100 comments at the time that I took this screenshot. So let's read through this. And before we start reading through this, I have a sponsor to read, and I think it's one that you guys are actually gonna like. So watch the whole thing, please, and pay attention. Or skip ahead 93 seconds if you really don't want to do that. That's fine too. Just, you know, a 5, 6, 7, 8. Are you someone who's interested in learning how to make video games but don't know where to start? Perhaps you've been thinking about going to school for game development, but again, don't know where the starting point actually is. Or maybe you're someone who already has a career outside of gaming, but you want to make that pivot into gaming on your own time, maybe. Today's video is brought to you by Southern New Hampshire University. SNHU is one of the largest online accredited universities in the United States, and their tuition rates are also some of the lowest in the country, and you could be eligible for financial aid if you have previous college credits that could fast-track your degree. SNHU's game development program has been extremely well received and is taught by faculty in the industry, so it's a fantastic way to meet people with experience in gaming and potentially make some really important connections. And since it's all remote, you can make your own schedule, take classes on your own time, and work around your own life. If you've been looking for a time to get your feet wet with game development, I encourage you to hit the link in the description of this video and click on the Get Info button after entering your contact information. It'll get you in touch with someone from the university who can answer any and all questions that you have. And even if you're just kind of thinking about it, I strongly encourage you to get in touch with someone from the university. Even if you're on the fence, just use the link in the description or by visiting snhu.edu/Seattle. And the absolute worst that could happen is that you now know more about the school. The best thing that could happen is that you start your journey towards being a game developer. So start your game development journey today and get in touch with someone at Southern New Hampshire University. Huge thanks to them for sponsoring the video. And now back to whatever nonsense you were watching. Alright, so let's read this article together. Avowed's low frame rates but smooth feeling gameplay makes me wonder if we PC gamers worry too much about the numbers, by Nick Evanson, which is like the most generic name of all time. That's the name that a Daily Bugle reporter would have in a Spider-Man comic, but he's not a character you're supposed to be paying that much attention to. Like, they needed a name for a background character, but not a name that would stand out enough for you to be paying attention and be like, oh, I wonder what Nick Evanson's gonna be up to next issue. So they name him Nick Evanson. And all of this has grave importance to the overall point for reasons I haven't decided yet. I've been spending a good chunk of my time recently testing the performance of new game releases on various PCs. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Civ 7, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and now Avowed, hour after hour, day after day, constantly running benchmarks over and over, all to get a raft of performance numbers to give you an idea of how well they run across different hardware configurations. But the charts and video clips don't really tell you the full story, because they can't show you how a game feels to play. I mean, generally speaking, they do, though. Like, if you show me a chart that says this game averages around 60 frames per second on this hardware, this game averages around 98 frames per second on this hardware, I'm gonna be able to tell which one plays smoother, generally speaking. You know, input lag notwithstanding, but assuming input lag is the same, yeah, higher average frames means the experience is going to feel smoother. Like, what? That's the whole reason we like big frame rate numbers. It's because it makes the game smoother. It's just a very strange way to start your article here. And in the case of Avowed, it's quite an important thing because for the most part, it feels really smooth. Not always, of course, and not on every PC that I tested it on, but the experience is far nicer than the performance numbers suggest it should be. For example, on my Ryzen 7 5700 3XD, or X3D, and GeForce RTX 4070 test rig, it averages 68 FPS at 1440p, with a high quality preset and no upscaling. I've heard actually incredibly mixed things about Avowed's performance, so I think it's a little odd that that's the game you chose as a representation of really smooth gameplay. Like, yeah, man, Avowed is just, I've been testing all these games recently, and Avowed just feels real smooth. It's almost like Avowed's a hot topic right now, and Avowed's performance has been heavily criticized on the PC. Man, I wonder if this is a really opportune time for me to throw in my own opinions about low frame rates being okay, and corporations aiming for lower frame rates, that's just a-okay with me. I'm a PC gamer. Pretty decent, right? Not amazing, but not bad either. Note, 68 FPS on a high-end rig, on high settings, not even ultra settings. Like, come on, no, that's not pretty decent. That is low. You're writing for PC gamer. You shouldn't be advocating for pretty decent, right? And then even misrepresenting a pretty decent. Like, high presets, no upscaling, 1440p on a 4070. Homeboy, you should be getting way more than 68 frames on that, and if you're not, it's a problem with the game. However, the 1% low frame rate, the FPS in the game is faster than 99% of the time. It's just 34 FPS. That's a pretty big difference to the average performance, and in lots of other games, you'd notice that quite easily. Not so in Avowed. In fact, it feels smooth as butter on that particular PC with those settings. Only the odd bit of traversal stutter spoils the picture. I'm sorry. The game gets down to 34 frames per second on high settings on a 4070, and you're writing a whole paragraph to dismiss that? Like, hey guys, it's just the 1%, guys. It's just the 1%. Home Skillet, we're talking 34 frames. 34 frames per second. High settings, 4070. And we're spending multiple sentences trying to excuse that. Gosh gee willikers, mister. I can't imagine why PC gamers don't actually like PC Gamer the outlet. It's a mystery to me they do such a good job representing PC gamers, and the general opinions that they have towards frame rate and performance. And it's got me wondering if we, as PC gamers, worry too much about performance, or rather focus too much on the performance figures. Yes, I know that makes me a big ol' hypocrite, given that my job here is to test stuff, produce charts with lots of numbers, and then judge the products on the basis of those figures. Yes, if you don't think those things are important, you are a hypocrite for doing them as your job. It makes me not trust your testing anymore. If you are the guy that PC Gamer entrusts to do the charts, to do the performance reviews, but then you also hold the opinion that, 34 FPS, that's fine. 68 average on high settings on this game that just came out, barely above 60 frames per second on a 4070 at 1440p, not even on max settings, like it's a fucking PlayStation. That's perfectly fine performance for a 4070. If you come out and say stuff like that, then yeah, I'm not gonna trust your performance reviews anymore, cause what the fuck are you looking at? What, you're clearly not looking at the same things I'm looking at when I look at performance reviews. Oh, buddy, did you hear that? Did you hear that thing whizzing out the window? Ah, yes, it was your credibility at this website, man with generic name that I completely forget what it was. Evan Baxter? Was that what it was? No, that's the fucking dude from Bruce Almighty. That's Steve Carell from Bruce Almighty. Evan Baxter. See, that's a better name. That's a named character name, not a background character name. There's a big difference between the performance of hardware and that of a game, of course. It's not like one can go, ooh, this CPU feels like it's running really fast. It either is or it isn't, and the only way to be certain is to run tests and get numbers. Wait, didn't you just say, like 2 paragraphs ago, that numbers don't actually do a good job telling you how a game feels? Didn't you literally just say that the feels of the game are not properly represented by numbers, but now you're implying that you can't feel performance? Or are you talking about the CPU specifically? Because, I mean, I don't know about you, but I can tell when my CPU's not running well. I can tell when that's happening because I actually play PC games and I actually understand how PCs work. I don't just move settings and then be like, yup, frame rate's this, change the settings, yup, frame rate's this. Ugh, PC gamers care too much. Which is just the impression that I get of you as a reporter, because that's, you know what, we'll just keep reading. I'm getting ahead of myself here. For games, it's different, unless it's a competitive one, especially if it's going to be potentially a source of income for you. But even then, surely it doesn't matter how fast it's running as long as it feels okay and doesn't prevent you from achieving your desired goals, yes? Again, just really locking in the fact that you don't actually care about what the numbers mean. I test the numbers, guys. It's my job to test the numbers. Trust my test and a review of the numbers. But also, should you really care about the numbers? Oh yeah, 100% I trust your analysis. 100%. The obvious issue here is that feeling is subjective, and something that feels okay to me might be excruciating for someone else. Yes, if you think 34 FPS is acceptable, even 1% of the time in a modern game on a 4070, if you think that's completely okay, you shouldn't be judging these things. But I don't think that, in the case of games, it's so subjective that my opinion is completely irrelevant. After all, I'm in the fortunate position to be able to check out a game across more PCs than most gamers come across in years of owning a computer, so I can at least comment on relative feel. Yeah, so can I. Higher frame rates make for a smoother experience. The end. I often come across comments and discussions about a particular game or piece of hardware where the gamer will say something along the lines of, it has to run at 120 FPS for me, or I'm not interested. Without wishing to sound like I'm denigrating such opinions, that's something I just don't get. On my own gaming PC, I really don't care what frame rate I'm getting, and I never bother to check the same metrics that I collate for performance reviews. It's literally a case of firing up the game, playing it as is, and then tweaking some settings until it feels great. So, you literally don't know what you're talking about. You don't pay attention to metrics when you're playing video games, but also PC Gamer pays you to write about the metrics in video games. PC Gamer pays you to be objective about something that you openly say you don't care about, and they paid you, presumably, to write this article as well. I'm not bashing you for having this opinion. I'm not I don't want to sound like I'm bashing you if you have this opinion. If your frame rate tolerance is lower than mine, that's fine. I feel like regardless of frame rate tolerance, we should all be in acceptance of the fact that the benchmarks you laid out earlier in the video as being perfectly okay are not perfectly okay. That's a sign of a very poorly optimized game. I don't know why we're even having to linger on this, but that's where we're at with fucking PC Gamer. But this is what I'm talking about when I say people are sick and tired of this outlet. They are sick and tired of games journalism. They are sick and tired of the absolute painful, blatant elitism that comes from game journalists nowadays. In what other industry could you write an entire article about how you at your job position are arguably unqualified and just like light up the bat signal that there is a multitude of people willing to do the job more passionately than you? In what other profession could you be paid to write an article about how you openly don't care about your job? The standards of games journalism are so far underground, it is astonishing that stuff like this still comes out. We're almost done. We're almost through the whole thing. Avowed really is a perfect example of this. As with all games that I do performance analysis for, I spent a couple of hours getting to a point where I could carry out repeated test loops to collate an average data. Actually, I played past that point just to see if there was something better to use, but depending on how much time I have, that's not always possible. Anyway, after the said hours of working through Avowed's opening stages, I came away feeling really positive about the game, marveling at how well it ran. Which, again, I just think it's funny that the PC Gamer guy came to that conclusion, because I've been hearing almost entirely negative things about this game. I'm hearing the Steam version runs like complete garbage, and I'm hearing the Xbox Game Pass version strangely runs a little bit better, but has a crashing issue. So you either have the version that runs like ass, but doesn't crash as much, or the version that runs a little better but crashes frequently. But the PC gamer frame rate tester, metric tester, benchmark tester guy thinks Avowed is just peachy. Gosh, I wonder why people don't take this outlet seriously. I wonder what happened here. Then I started to collate performance data. You really like that word. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right. I really don't give a shit. Across all my test rigs, and was somewhat surprised to see how low some of the numbers really were. A 1% low of 34 FPS compared to an average of 68 FPS should feel a bit janky, not quite stuttery, but certainly not smooth, and yet it does in Avowed. It actually feels worse if it runs too fast, if that makes any sense. Guys, don't let the frame rates get too high. That would just be terrible. Don't let the standards raise above the fucking knee-high water level in the AAA gaming industry in the current year when they have more money than ever. Don't let standards rise. Average of 68 FPS, not only is that perfectly awesome, but dude, don't run the frame rate too high. That's bad. It's actively bad to run the frame rate higher than this. Please find a new job. I don't like you in this one. It's not for you. I know I can't abandon performance charts and just write meandering prose about how a game feels at 1080p medium, but I'm sorry, is that not your job? Is that not your job? You've been talking about how you do performance tests on different rigs and stuff, and you made a point at the beginning of the article to talk about how this was 1440p high settings, but now you're like, what do you want me to do, write about 1080p medium? I mean, kind of. Is that not how you've been portraying your own profession this whole time? But I do think that sometimes it's worth leaving the numbers to one side for a moment and reading everything first. It's akin to ignoring a game's review score until you've absorbed everything that reviewer has said, and having just realized how few people are going to do that, I guess I'll be doing hours of testing for performance figures for many more years to come. I fucking hope not. Get someone who actually cares. Get someone who actually knows more about these things and actually cares about the differences between them. Because you say yourself you don't. Like, I can't decide what bothers me more about this, the article itself or just your fucking attitude. There are a million people out there who would do your job better than you because they actually care. For myself though, I'm just going to keep going by feel. Maybe I should invest a feels per second metric? Ugh, no, that's just another number. Oh my god, there's just so many numbers, guys. Ugh, so many numbers. How do you deal with it? Never mind that my job is, you know, understanding the numbers and having presumably having a passion for the numbers, or at least an interest in the numbers, but ugh, don't make me look at another one. Take my analysis seriously, but also, ugh, I can't believe I have to do this. This attitude is so fucking obnoxious. It is so obnoxious. And you see it all over the games industry now. This is just what games journalists do. This is just how they feel. This is just how they talk. Oh, bollocks. Flippin' bollocks, guys. Damn it. Thanks for bearing through that with me. That was painful for everyone involved. I'll do the Doofus Club shoutouts now. And be sure to check out that Southern New Hampshire University link in the description. Like, even if you just have a little bit of interest in the thing, grab the link. The worst that can happen is that you find out something new about something you might want to do, or you get new information that makes you not want to do it. Either way, just like, you know, give it a shot. I'm just stalling because I'm trying to let my mouth do a bit of a break before I talk really fast to the Doofus Club, but also in my brain I was giving my mouth a break, but I didn't stop talking. Shit. Okay, let's just do the Doofus Club now. One Man Riot, Days Gone Remaster, I Told You All, and So Now Suck It, and Omega Gabba P, Biohazard 105, Ultimate Jack, Epion 504, EK, Anurag Gupta, Binary Deviant, Zombie Fan. If you read this, Yugi, Clipto Penguin, Raptor 1, Stoico, Partial Mean 8, Wild Gamer 3001, GWXSS, Frito Sandwich, Doom Kaiju, Rasp the Wolf, Evan Co, Sad Freighter, OK Toodles, Tech Gaming, Jungle Zone, Slim Jim, Carlos Sway, Hernandez, Hermilo, Releaser, Gaming with Dead People, Banner Fondue, All Games Video, Mad Rocks 2682, Neon Elec, Max Killer, V2 Gaming, Biscuit 1101, Firestorm 2056, Yoggster, Horizon Forbidden West Wing Master, Pope Raphael the Rat King, Jessica Shepard, Joe, I Changed My Mind, where Windows and Android for the win, Riki Spiral, Ricky Tabby, Muskie, Tech Manix, Joe, please throw me into the San Francisco Bay, Karumi the Steel Angel, Keep on Doofing, Smash Jump, Sergeant Jason Bond, Baron von Vaterham, the Silver Dragon, changed my name to help Joe, had his runtime, Cyrus, forgot to cancel, now I can't afford a motorcycle, True Texican 940, Santa Nakagi, forgot to cancel, now I can't afford membership, Hinoga's #1 Saudi fan, Creed Warrior, Max Jev, Metro UK, Gooch, you do not speak for this chap, Totally Insane, Vendetta Autry, Black Cobra, Non Voila, Fox Loto, Knight of Cypher, Cloaked Onyx, Ninox, Reborn Me with the fan art, Nick, ML04, I own 6 copies of Click 2006 on Blu-ray with the fan art, Joe Your Fruit Suit will arrive in 10 business days, Wolf of Midnight, Stick Rider, The Con Connoisseur, Pig Venus, Genius, Kev Dog 1992, Steve Wayne Studios, Film Kraken, Beesoms, The Golem Gaming, Drake Brown, Thomas Wokin, Hero Culture, Thornscade, Magnex, Severin Evans, Mr. Spawnino 3, It's the Catalina, Freaking Y, Mix of Pow Pow, White Trouble, Donnie Weston, Nick Donegan, Gob Gobson, Rogue Winter 919, Bobby Hinner, Dog Nigsy, Grimsy, Gashkerbshen, Shishikevich, Hangman for Hire, The Old Odds, Des, Dodol, Edge Knight, 1789, Frost Crystal, Jimmy Chops, Biogenesis, EI Camso, Ian in Action, Floppy Pinkus 97, Michael Musial, Omega Key, Kushka, The Scruffy Skull, Ghost Ho, Ryusagi, Judge 06, Fast Growth, M Tango, Raptor Tim, Amistef 94, Mr. Self-Destruct, Blue Hook, Joey Masters Videos, Faster than Sony Nuts Games, 15,000 Wasps in a Trench Coat, Waiting Outside, Schnarl Accent, Disney Ruins Everything They Touch, Jody Breeze, The Almond God, Max Laurels, L, Demetrius, Papa Giorno, Mick Advertisement, Diego Garcia, Hey It's Maddie, Kip Against, Boofner, I American Idiot, Rebel at 80, Antoine Horton, Joe, plug the Discord right now, discord.gg/doofus, Console Sim Sears, Hentai, RDR2 is goaded, Change My Mind, Ono is Justin, Rand Roy, Tony Wayne, T, Earl Grey Hot, Extreme the Wolf 7, Joey Scoops, Puddin' Joe Taku, I'm the decoy from the JTech TV's Doom video, Help, Geeks Tarv, God 5090, he's gonna slap Griffin with it, Wanna Be Hobo, Jidge, Westa, Remastered, Bill at 310 Char, Rob C, Veg, The Group of Banana, Cardinals back, the Scrum Master, everybody above me is a doofus. I think that may have been the fastest I've ever done it. That may have been the fastest I've ever done it. And if it was, that was pretty fast, right? If it wasn't that fast, we can pretend it was. Okay, toodles.